Hey everyone, today we are going to give you 10 tips to be the smartest cruiser you can be. Right after this. Hi everyone, Johnny from Bite Size Cruises. Welcome back to our channel. If it's your first time here, we're just here to give you some great information about cruising so that you can make and plan an amazing cruise adventure. If that sounds good, we'd love for you to subscribe. Today, we are going to give you 10 tips to become the smartest cruiser you could be. Number one is the most common sense tip of all time. It is arrive the day before your cruise. So obviously, if you're driving to the port or you're within an hour or two, we get that. It's totally fine to just go there. Anytime I'm leaving from New Jersey or New York or Baltimore, I just drive to the port in that morning. Now, crazy things can happen, but for the most part, barring any emergencies or difficult situations, if you're driving, even if you hit extreme traffic, you're going to be there before 4 o'clock in the afternoon when the ship closes up and sails away. So I know this is a little bit of a hardship for some people because you would have to pay for a hotel or anything else like that, breakfast and dinner and those type of things. But it really does make sense if you're spending all this money on a cruise. You do not want to miss the ship. There are plenty of delays and things that happen with flights. So you don't want to take a chance that you're not going to be able to get there on time. So I highly recommend flying in the day before just to be on the safe side. Just makes sense. Number two, when you book your cruise, get travel insurance. Travel insurance is the dumbest thing ever until you need it. So it's one of the things I talk to people all the time about, and they say, we're not going to get travel insurance. We don't need it, blah, 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 blah. Yes, you can use it sometimes to cancel your cruise if you have canceled for any reason. You can also use it if you get sick or you have a death in the family. Those are reasons you would get all of your money back. However, keep in mind, if you are going somewhere like the Caribbean or the Bahamas, if anything were to happen and you would need to have surgery, apologies to those countries, but you definitely want to come back to the United States to have those surgeries. So you want those things to be covered, especially, and if something happens on the ship where the Coast Guard has to come in and medevac you off the ship. If you don't have insurance, that's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that you're out. So something to keep in mind, travel insurance, worth it, every penny if you need it. Number three, book everything before you sail. So drink packages, internet, your dining packages, your excursions. Few reasons for this. First one is, excursions sell out all the time. I see a ton of people when I get on the ship who are disappointed that they can't go swim with the pigs or they can't do the dolphin meet or something sold out, whatever it may be. So book those things ahead of time just to be on the safe side. The other reason is everything is more expensive when you get on the ship. The drink package goes up astronomically. So does the internet. So does dining packages. So book those things ahead of time just to be prepared. Next up, get a passport. So you certainly can on certain cruises if it is a closed loop, meaning starts in the U.S., comes back to the U.S., you can sail with just your driver's license and your birth certificate. But it just makes a ton of sense to have your passport. It's much easier. It's much easier if you get stuck in a country. You have your passport, you can just book a flight and go home. Otherwise, you're going to need some paperwork. It's going to get a little complicated. So do yourself a favor, especially if you travel a lot, get a passport. It makes your life so much easier. Also, you don't want to be carrying your birth certificate around everywhere. It's, it's just a piece of paper. So next up, number 5, create and research everything and then create yourself a budget. So I think this is something that people forget about all the time. They think, well, I'm going on a cruise. It's going to cost X amount of dollars. And then you get on the cruise ship and you start playing bingo and you buy drinks and you look at excursions and you hit the arcade. Set yourself a budget. Otherwise, you're going to get to the end of the cruise and it's going to be a lot more money than you thought it was. And then that might dissuade you from going on cruises again. This way, if you do your research, you find out what's included, what's additional, and you can make an informed, educated decision and create yourself a little budget so that you know what you're going to spend. Next tip, avoid the elevators. So this one, I don't know, might be a popular tip, might not be. I try to walk everywhere. There's a few reasons. One, when you're on a cruise, especially like certain days, day one, port days, the elevators are mobbed all the time, right? You're going to wait 5-10 minutes for an elevator. Two, people are on vacation, and for some reason that makes everybody super entitled. So you might be waiting 5 or 10 minutes. Someone will come up, hit the button, the door will open, they'll just walk in front of you. So you might be waiting a long time. You might be on an elevator with 20 or 30 people. It's just easier to use the stairs. The second reason, and again, if you can't use the stairs, it's totally fine. But like also, I'm going to try to use the stairs so that the people that need the elevators can use the elevators. Number 3 for me, you eat and drink a lot on a cruise. It's good to get a little bit of exercise. So I do a little walking. That's a nice little added bonus for me there. Next up, number 7, check your onboard account daily. Sometimes you're going to get charged for things that weren't your charge. Sometimes you're going to just forget what you're spending money on. Again, this goes along with your budget. Just check it every day. Make sure everything's good. Make sure you're not overspending. And then you might even see like, oh, I didn't spend any money. Maybe I'll go buy a t-shirt, or I have a little bit left in my budget. Maybe I'll get some drinks today. So keep an eye on your cruise onboard account daily. Number 8, pick your cabin wisely. This really does depend on you as a cruiser. So for me, I really don't care. I sleep pretty well in any environment. I will take a guaranteed cabin just to get on a cruise. I don't really mind where that cabin is. However, other things to keep in mind are if you are really sensitive to motion, you want to be in the middle and as low as you can on the ship. If you don't want to walk a lot, you want to be kind of middle of everything. So in between the promenade deck and the Lido deck, maybe on like deck 10, so that things aren't that far. You don't want to be too far from the elevators or the stairs. There's a lot of things to consider, and you don't want to be too close to things that are really noisy. So you don't want a nightclub above you or right below the pool deck maybe. So pick your cabin wisely. It's really going to make or break your vacation for some people, whether or not you could sleep and get some rest and be comfortable. Next up, number 9, do the drink package math. So drink packages run anywhere from $50 a day to $100 and some dollars a day. Do the math before you buy or don't buy the drink package. If you're only going to drink 1 or 2 drinks a day, probably not worth it to get the drink package unless you just don't want to worry about it and you want that peace of mind. However, if it's $100 a day and you drink 3 drinks a day, you're just throwing away $60 or $70 a day. So just think about those things. Do the math before you buy the drink package. And then last but not least, do yourself a favor and book with a cruise travel agent. They just have a ton of information. They've been on a lot of the cruises. They talk to people every day that go on cruises. They talk to the cruise lines every day. They're aware of like a lot of the policies and rules. They know the ins and the outs and the intricacies of working and going on cruises. So they're just a wealth of knowledge and information, and it doesn't cost you a penny. So you could still do all the research on your own. Just book with a cruise travel agent. It will save you time and money. Those are our 10 tips to make you a smarter cruiser. Thanks so much for checking us out today. Hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thanks so much. Bye.